incident here in New York where a woman confronted a black man in the park and decided she was going to go off on him. And fortunately, he had his camera. And I think one of the things I want to say, because I know some of you want to show it, but one of the things I want to say is people need to understand there are consequences to your actions, and one of the consequences to this woman's action is she could have gotten this young man killed by just doing what she did. Do you think? Yeah.
And Whoopi, you and I were talking about it, and for me, I think we should show the clip so that people have the context.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to me.
And I'm taking a picture and calling the cops.
Please call the cops. Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life. There is an African-American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. I'm being threatened by a man in the Ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
And when I saw this, you know, what she first says is, this started because he wanted her to put her dog on a leash because he's a bird watcher, and her dog was running in an area of Central Park where dogs aren't allowed to run. And what was shocking to me is that she literally weaponized his race and weaponized her privilege. She knew that by calling the police, it would be to her advantage. And as the mother of a black son, she tried to make happen what is my very worst nightmare. And I was just so shocked because, you know, people say all the time, you know, just follow the rules. If you follow what police tell you to do as a black person, you'll be fine. They say that, you know, black people are arrested more frequently than white people because there aren't fathers in the home, because they're undereducated, because they're unemployed. Well, this guy was a Harvard-educated freaking bird watcher.
That's right.
Bird watcher.
Yeah.
So the point is, he's like the most non-aggressive person, yet her fear was based on his race. Fear was based on race, and she weaponized it against him to call the police.
Well, the tell is that she kept calling him on the phone, kept saying it's an African-American man. It's an African. She said it several times. If it was a Caucasian, would she say it was a Caucasian man? Is there? No. So that tells you that it's racism disguised. She doesn't even know she's doing it, possibly, but there it is. It's in her unconscious mind.
Yeah.
He's an African-American man. She had to say it several times. And can I point out that this did not happen in some southern state? This happened in New York City, in Central Park. This type of thing is pervasive in this whole country. It's not just one state or another.
Yeah, to pivot off of what Joy is saying, it did happen in Central Park by a woman who was donated and maxed out to President Obama. She went to the University of Chicago and she worked for a hedge fund on Park Avenue. This isn't happening in the backwoods of the Deep South. And if you watch the video, it's incredibly disturbing because she is working herself up into fake hysteria. When you watch the video, she gets fake more and more upset. She's not being attacked. He's not being aggressive with her. And she's clearly, it appeared to me, acting because she wanted to have a record of a phone call to 911 where she sounded hysterical. And I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding is there are cases that have been tried based on 911 calls like that. And God forbid this man was not recording it. Thank you, Sonny. And I think when you're talking about checking your privilege, I agree. Clearly, she's a 41-year-old hedge fund manager, like I said, highly educated, active liberal Democrat who lives in New York City. And clearly she thought that I could still sort of feign and fake this experience in order to, you know, God forbid, as you said, Sonny, he becomes the next George Floyd. And I just think we're at a place where there's just no tolerance for any of this, which is why she has since lost her job and her dog. And Mr. Cooper, to his credit, is saying he doesn't know if that, and that's the gentleman who was filming, he doesn't know if that was warranted. But I think there are consequences for all our actions. There are. You are who you are when you leave your home.
That's the point.
Go ahead, Whoopi. Sorry.
I was just
is she
saying
a liberal
that
Democrat?
I
didn't know her politics.
And I just think because there's stereotypes that racism like this and privilege only comes with Trump supporters in the Deep South, and this obviously is not the case in this situation.
Oh no. We know that it's possible to see it anywhere. And the bottom line is simply this.
Anywhere.
If you know going in that if you say there's an African-American man and he's attacking me, those are dangerous, dangerous words. Those words coming out of that
Right.
woman's mouth could have gotten that man killed. And when we say there are
Yeah.
consequences for your behavior, you got fired because A, he didn't attack you, and it was clear that he didn't, so your people that were hiring you might have thought you were lying. So you
Although,
must
Whoopi,
know
I
that...
thought
Go ahead.
what was fantastic was the grace with which he responded to her being firing. He said this, it's a little bit of a frenzy, and I am uncomfortable with that. If our goal is to change the underlying factors, I am not sure that this young woman having her life completely torn apart serves that goal. That is true grace. He is showing her the grace that she did not show him.
Well,
Right.
that is also true. But the bottom line is simply this: consequences for your actions. Fortunately, no one died here.
Yes.
And that's what we have to remember. There are consequences.